So in this tip, the first one here, we're going to start off with something simple, and that's just getting your Mac updated or upgraded to macOS Mojave using the App Store. And we're going to look around the App Store as well because that got a major overhaul in Mojave. So the first step is to go up to the Apple and choose About This Mac. When you do that, you're going to see the information for your computer, including things like the serial number, the graphics card, the processor speed, all of this technical jargon that describes what's inside of your computer. But the biggest thing that you want to look at for this video is what version do you have installed? And macOS Mojave just came out, so it's 10.14. That 14, that's the major number. If you're on 13 or 12, you're on a major version back, a couple of versions back. Now, you might also see a third number here. You might see 10.13.3. And that third number is the revision or the minor updates that have come out to fix bugs and have other corrections. So as of right now, the time of this recording, it is 10.14.0. There's no other updates out currently. But you might watch this in the future when there is an update, and this is how you can see what version number you are currently on. Now, the other things that you see here, the processor speed, memory, graphics card, those are also important because you need to meet minimum system requirements in order to be able to update to macOS Mojave. And you can go on to Safari. There's a website, which is just apple.com/macOS/how-to-upgrade. And this has a whole bunch of information on how to upgrade your Mac, including the system requirements that you need and a couple other things on there. But really, if you're running 10.13, 10.12, if you have a relatively recent machine, especially if you're using Final Cut, you probably have a machine that is compatible with Mojave. So the next step is to actually upgrade. And the way that you're going to upgrade is by going up to the Apple and opening up the App Store. So I'm going to close Safari back here, and this is the App Store. The App Store may look a little bit different if you are using an older version of the software, and that's okay. You're still going to have basically all the same areas. You should see a search or an updates section. And if you click on the updates section, in that area, you're going to see macOS Mojave. If you don't, you can just do a search for macOS Mojave in the search field. And actually, let's do that here, and we'll see what comes up. There's our macOS Mojave. And here we can see it as a utility, macOS Mojave. I can click on View, and now we're seeing that operating system and that upgrade. In order to download it, you're going to see either an update, an upgrade, or in this case, I see a Get button. If you're on the older versions, it's going to look a little bit different. But here in Mojave, when you look at apps, this is what it looks like. And you can just hit that Get button. It'll download and install. With an operating system, it can take some time to upgrade, so just let it run. For my system, it took, I would say, probably about a half hour to download and start the install, and then about another 20 minutes or so to finish the install. But don't be surprised if it goes quicker or takes longer. So once you get Mojave installed, then we have the new App Store. So let's take a look at the new App Store here, because that's what this video is really about. And on the left column, we saw the search area, so you can use that to search for a specific app. Say we wanted to get Final Cut Pro, I could type in Final Cut Pro here into the search area, just like we did with Mojave. And even after you start typing, I just typed in Final, and we can see Final Cut Pro is already right here at the top. So I can click on Final Cut Pro, and we see the app itself shows up here on the right. You may also see stories like this one, the Getting Started with Final Cut Pro, but you'll also see the apps then on the right there. So if I wanted to look at Final Cut Pro in more detail on the app itself, I'll click on it, and now I'm able to get some information about this app. And what's really cool, one of the things that they've added and are using a lot more in Mojave is these video previews. So you can actually get a preview of the apps that you're looking at, not just screenshots. We can definitely scroll here through the screenshots, but in this case, we actually get a video preview of that app. I think these are all 30 seconds long. So that's a way to view an app, and then here under What's New, you can click on the More button to see what's new in the versions that were released. And this is going to be specific to this version, which I think we're on, 10.14 14.3 is our current version. And these notes under what's new is specific to this version. So if you wanted to see older versions, we can click on version history. And now we're actually able to see all of the notes from the previous versions that were released of this app. And these are, in my opinion, really important to look at because you can actually get a history of, in this case, Final Cut Pro and what was added in specific versions. And obviously these are really small. You just click the More button on the right, and then you can get the details of what was added to those versions. So really cool way just to see and kind of even just get a history of Final Cut. You can see what was added, when it was added in, and kind of see what was in the past there. But we also get some other information here. We see where it says Apple in blue here. This is the developer. So this is who's made this specific app. If you're used to Final Cut Pro, you'll know that it's developed by Apple. And every time you open it, you'll see that Apple logo here. But if you're looking at another app, you might not know who develops it. So you can actually click on the developer name, and it'll go and show you all of the apps made by that developer. So we could see all the other apps here if we wanted to. Top left, I'm just going to hit the back button to go back to our app here. We also get the app ratings, and you can definitely go in here and rate it once, and I recommend rating any app that you download, and you can leave a review as well. And we can see this is ranked number 1 in the video category. That's what this ranking is. On the right side then, once you have the app installed, you're going to see an open button. If you don't have it installed, you'll see the price to purchase that app. Final Cut Pro currently is $299 US, so you'll see that price there, and you can just click on the price to make the purchase and download and install the app. Otherwise, if you want to do some additional things with this app, you can click on this button and copy, say, the link to the app. You can airdrop it or share it another way there. That's one other way to get to it. And then the one other thing I want to point out about this is if you scroll down, you're going to see things like the review and the ability for you to go in and rate and review the app here and some other technical information at the bottom. But what I want to really point out here is the website and the support. Because these links will take you to the support and the websites for the apps you're developing. So in this case, it's Final Cut Pro, takes us to that website. But if you're using a third-party app, maybe a plugin or some other app that you've gotten to do something else in macOS Mojave, this is where you can go to get those support resources. And I believe they're all required to have at least a developer website linked here. So those, a lot of times you'll get an app and you don't know where to go for support. This is usually where I'll start. I'll look at the page, go to the developer website, and see what's up with that app and the other information about it. And the reason that's really important, in this video we're talking about macOS Mojave and getting upgraded to that version of the operating system. If you have a third-party app, it may not be compatible with Mojave. So you want to check with those developers, and that's a big reason not to upgrade right away, is because you want to make sure that you're compatible and all the apps and the extra things that you're using are compatible with Mojave. In this case, we are on Final Cut. Final Cut, as far as I can see so far, works great with Mojave. And the last live stream I did on the YouTube channel here, everything seemed to work pretty smoothly, and everything this week that I've been doing has been working really well. So I think it's a good time to upgrade, but again, check all of your third-party apps and anything else that you're using. So now that we've looked at an app on here, I just want to show a couple other things here inside of the App Store, because you also have the Discover tab on the left side. And this is a place for you to go where you can, essentially, like it says, discover new apps and additional apps that may be things that you would want to use. So you can go on here to look at apps, and you can see the price tag on some of these. So like if Pixelmator, if this is something I wanted to use, I can click on it. I can see the preview. I can see screenshots of the app, reviews. Very easy to go through and navigate this app store. I think they did a really good job in upgrading this and making it more of a modern look and follows what you see on an iPhone and an iPad. Same thing when we go down to create, work, and play. These are just other categories for those apps. And you can do this on your own time and look at the apps that are featured here that you're going to be seeing. But just really good way to go through and discover new apps. They're pretty frequently updating the apps and what you see on these pages here. So Any of these pages that we are on here, for example, we'll go to the play section, which is a whole bunch of games. But any of these pages, when you scroll down to the bottom, you'll see these quick links. And these links allow you to see additional information for your Apple ID and your account. So if you want to redeem a code, maybe a gift card, you can click on redeem and it'll bring up the page for you to in this case, sign into an Apple ID to redeem a gift card. And you can also add funds to your Apple ID if you want to do that as well. Then we see some developer apps. And then here's a spot where you can see all of the categories. So in our case, we're doing a lot of video work, so we might go to the video category. And when we go to a specific category, we can see the top paid apps, the top free apps, and kind of a nice way to go through and find apps that you want to use. And then the final tab here on the left is updates. So right now, all my apps are updated. But this is where you're going to see your apps if there's updates available. And you do want to definitely keep apps updated. I strongly recommend doing that. When we looked at Final Cut, you could see an app and see what the update notes look like. So that you'll see those as well when there is an update. So that is the App Store inside of macOS Mojave. And we have a whole bunch of tips coming in the next couple days. Each day there's going to be a new video of macOS Mojave. If you're watching this at a later time, you can just hit the playlist and go through all the videos. And these are all going to be tips just on using your Mac, on basic things about your Mac that you may not have known, but also ways that they integrate with Final Cut Pro. I know too many people that are just using Final Cut Pro to edit video, and there's just so much more that your Mac can do. So take advantage of it and use these videos to hopefully learn something new. Leave a comment or a thumbs up if you like this video, and let me know what else you want to see.